And on this weekend, this week we will be discussing the GPSU elections and annual general meeting part 2. You will recall that last week we indicated that they had a number of persons, some of whom are appearing this evening on the program to discuss the elections. Since then, of course, we've also had the May Day parade, which was quite frankly, from the perspective of civil society and any observer of the trade union movement, completely depressing. The trade union movement is on its way out unless something is done to rebuild and reinvigorate it. Anyway, this evening, our guests, and from my immediately left, Ms. Karen Vansluytman, Ms. Shelfra Torrington, both of whom were on the program last week, Ms. Ruth Howard, and Mr. Gordon Nestor, all members of the Guyana Public Service Union. In the interest of balance, I'll be inviting Mr. Patrick Yard, who is the presumptive president of the GPSU, to join me on Plain Talk next week.
Incumbent.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Plain Talk once again.
Thank you, good night, and thank you for having us.
Well, Karen, maybe I should start with you. Last week you were all upbeat. The elections have not really, the results have not yet been released. Is that correct?
That's true.
Yes,
But
we
the
would
press,
say that is so.
the press is indicating that Mr. Patrick Yard has been returned to the helm of the GPSU.
Well,
That's-
that is what the press is
No, it's not correct.
is reporting, but we are not in agreement with that. Our position is that Patrick Yard has not been elected president of the GPSU. Rather, he has been imposed upon the membership of the GPSU.
Well,
and
is
public
it
servants in
is it
general.
right to say that when the should you wait on the official results from the returning officer of for the elections?
Yes, we are awaiting the official results from the.
So you can't say he's
Returning
being
of-
imposed.
Well, you heard we hearing that he has been he's been returned as president. We're hearing that, but we haven't received any official indication from the elections officer. But it is all over the press that he has been returned as president of or re-elected president of the GPSU.
But there has been no official announcement.
No. As far as we know, I don't know if any of my other colleagues here, you've heard anything differently, but as far as we've heard, no.
Mr. Torrington, you were on the program last week. You were pretty confident that the side that was challenging Mr. Patrick Yard for the presidency was going to come out on top. What happened?
At this stage, what happened is that the ballot boxes with that Herman D'Souza, the election officer, said to us that the statement of polls are in those ballot boxes. We were not able to see those statement of polls. So we have on the notice board results from 7 boxes that is showing Mr. Gaspar having 542 votes and Mr. Yard having 155 votes. But the election officer, for some reason, is very reluctant to allow us to have a look at those statement of polls that his returning officers should have been declaring according to the rules of the union.
When you say should have allowed us, what role did you have in these elections?
I'm an observer.
You're an observer.
Yes.
Did you have a copy of the rules for the elections?
Well, the rules of election lies in the rules of the union. So if you check at E, 30E,
Yes, go on.
you're going to see 30E, I think E4, it says that is the returning officer who should have been declaring and giving a statement of that declaration of the results to the election officer. So, should they have followed that, we would have been able to know what are the count of each box or the statement of polls for each box there.
Well, let me ask you this. The rules indicate, for example, let's talk about that there's an elections officer upon the present preparation of the final list of nominees shall circulate same to all branches and the general membership by way of circulars and public notices in one or all of the daily newspapers at least 2 clear weeks before the date of the elections. Did that happen?
No, didn't happen. And on Saturday, that was one of the rules that we used when he was challenging us when we said to him that we need a voters list, because we said to him that the election that was called is not in keeping with the rules, because the rules says clearly how many days is required for us as members to be aware of an election. And what we found is that in some places, the persons, the workers or the members weren't even aware that an election was being held. And mind you, the snap election was called on the Thursday, and the election was scheduled for the Monday originally.
Hold on. Does the rule provide for snap elections?
No.
Where we are?
Well,
But no, let me pursue this question of the elections. So the rules do not provide
For snap
for snap
elections.
elections.
No.
It also says the counting of the ballots shall take place on the same day as soon as practicable after the close of poll in the presence of the candidates, their representatives and members of the union present. Each returning officer shall be responsible for the counting of the ballots cast at his district. He shall declare the results of the ballots cast at his district at the completion of the count and shall submit written declaration together with the ballots cast to the elections officer. Did that take place?
No.
It also says the counting of the ballots cast shall take place on the same day. Sounds like a repetition.
Yes, it is.
And he shall declare the results of the ballot cast. So yes, there's an apparent repetition of the rules. I don't want to go through it all. So the rules have not been complied with.
That's correct.
And the results have not been declared. So we don't know what the position is.
No, we don't. We're just speculating on this thing.
Maybe I can bring in you, Ms. Howard. What do you know about these elections and the report that Mr. Yard has been successful in being returned as president of the GPSU?
Well, I would say that the entire process for the elections, because I've been following it, I'm a member of the GGMC branch.
Yes.
I'm an employee there, right? So GGMC branch is one of the strongest branches we have there right now of the union. And so we take part actively in everything. Matter of fact, the persons who were the nominees for president was just Mr. Yard and our boy Gasper. Nobody else. All the other persons who were nominated apparently were taken off from that list. So only Gasper was there because he couldn't challenge the GGMC branch. So this whole thing about his reporting is not true. We, at lots of time, our branch is so strong, we normally have to push to get things done. and he has recognized that. So what Mr. Yard is doing now is a great injustice not only to the GGMC branch but the entire public service, and it is time that he just stepped down gracefully, because the writing was on the wall from the 7 ballots that were boxes that were counted that Mr. Gasper was way ahead. So it still have us baffled as to where these numbers come from.
Mr. Nestor, what do you know about these elections?
In fact, I've been there since the elections was called.
There where?
I was at PSU, camping out for quite a few days.
Keeping ballot box vigil.
Keeping a ballot box vigil. And one of the very important things that came to mind is the question of the transparency of this entire elections. It's very important to understand that the workers of this union.
And which branch you belong to?
I belong to the Georgia Mines Commission.
GGMC and Vansluytman?
I don't have a branch. I'm not even a member of a legitimate public servant because he rejected my dues. I'm not a member by virtue of him rejecting my dues. But I'm a legitimate public servant working with the Ministry of Social Protection.
In fact, I must say she was a candidate before. Her election was rigged at the last elections, and workers must understand that this rigging has to stop. I was at the for the past couple of days, and the workers have been repeatedly asking for the statements of poll, which is important to any elections. I have heard...
Well, the rules don't seem to call for statement of polls. The rules say he shall declare the results of the ballots cast at his district at the completion of the count and shall submit a written declaration together with the ballots cast to the elections officer. That's what it says.
Yes, but the rules that do not speak about statement of polls. If the rules do not speak about statement polls, then the national laws and regulations
No, I don't agree with you.
should take precedence.
I don't agree with you, sir. I don't agree with
How
you.
can you audit? How can you audit an elections unless there is a statement of polls? You're an auditor. You should be able to.
Well,
But
these
okay.
are your
Audit.
rules. These are your rules.
No, but to audit it, we must have some statements.
Yes, but you
signed
can't,
by
go and, you can't go and import someone else's rules into yours.
No, but the thing is, you must have a paper trail.
What it says, he shall declare the results of the ballots cast. Now, my position is this, Mr. Nestor, and I said this on the last program as well. I think issues concerning the GPSU, which has done very poorly in terms of representing public servants, and when you look at the GPSU building in Thomas Land, that thing is an absolute disgrace.
It's a
Yes.
testimony
No.
to the management style.
Well, it's a testimony to all of you.
Yeah.
All of you. You should say this is unacceptable. We won't be party to this. But the point I'm making, I agree with you, there is a lacuna in the rules. But it says he shall declare the results of the ballots cast at the completion and shall submit a written declaration. Now, you're saying that did not happen.
That did not.
That did
No.
not happen.
So whether or not there was a statement,
Never happened.
It has not happened.
Correct.
Has not happened.
No.
But in addition, what we
Did not
know,
happen.
in addition, what we know and we can say of these elections is that Patrick Yard moved from 155 votes straight through to 1,024 votes without even showing how he got to that 1,024 votes.
Hmm. Well, it's not for Patrick Yard to do this.
The
I keep
elections
making this
officer.
point. You have an
the
elections
election
officer.
When we say that, we mean the elections officer.
Yep.
He hasn't shown how Patrick Yard moved from 155 votes straight through to 1,024 votes.
But according to the spreadsheet, there's nothing written on the spreadsheet that states the positions.
Have you seen the spreadsheets?
I have seen it. I have seen the spreadsheet on there are waves. I've seen it on several of the
That document?
newspapers.
Yes.
That document.
The spreadsheet the positions are not clearly clarified.
Well, you see,
And if you calculate according to that spreadsheet, there are several other individuals, and these are people on the road who are doing the maths. Several other people there are saying, how come Patrick Yard win these elections, and they got other people got over 1,000 or something, 1140, 1340, and these kind of numbers.
But
How come you win these elections?
all right, we can ask the questions. The issue is, what are the answers? The answers and the questions have to be framed within the rules of the union. Now, Ms. Torrington is saying that she was one of the observers,
Yes.
and you were accredited as an observer. You were approved as an observer.
Well, GGMC asked me to be an observer.
You see, because it says, and actually 5 and 4, they
4
have
and
some
5,
slight
they seem-
differences.
yeah.
They do have some differences. But in any case, in the presence of the candidates, their representatives, and members of the union present. So you could have gone to every single one of the places of poll.
Correct.
Is that your understanding?
Yeah, that's my understanding.
That we said that did not happen. Where does this counting take place?
Well,
For Georgetown, that would have been the 7 boxes that we are aware of their results that are available for us. That was Georgetown.
So Georgetown was an electoral district. Because the rules speak of districts.
That is where the problem lies, because only 7 boxes we have statements for that were open. That is on the notice board that the elections officer put up there, and there's supposed to be 19, right? And the other 12, we haven't seen anything for it.
Well,
There's nothing.
the entire
so we're saying,
process of the elections is a fiasco.
okay,
No, there's no procedures, no SOPs, and standard operation procedures for us to move from one point to the next. There's no paper trail, basically, and
Yes.
that's an indictment on the returning officer. Nothing signed by him.
indictment of all
All
of you.
of us.
Because
Yes.
you should have been observing these damn elections.
That is the reason.
If you suspected that these elections were going to be suspect, were going to be flawed, then surely you invoke your rights under these.
we did,
Well,
we
No.
did ask for the counts for each box, each polling station, and it was not given to us. In fact, we said before any counts were made, we want to see.
Mr. Nestor, you keep going out of the rules. It says the counting shall take place at the district. That's what it says.
But
Yes, but
So-
we on the, for example, if we take Region 2 for example,
Yes.
and Region 2 being a district,
Yes.
then we expect the count to be at that district.
Yes, that's correct.
And the returning officer should have made a declaration.
That's correct.
In Region 2. So that means that when I pick up the phone and I call Region 2, I should be able to get the information.
Not only that, the candidates, they should do so in the presence of the candidates, their representatives, and members of the
Well,
union present.
That is where the problem lies. We hadn't persons to represent us at all of those
Official.
outlying locations officially because of how the elections was called. After the court matter, Tuesday,
No, Thursday.
elections was Thursday,
Thursday.
2 days after.
2 days after.
Quite frankly, I'm a lawyer and I've got to be very careful, but I find that so strange
Well, that is what
that the court would allow elections to happen under those circumstances without saying that you must go back and say, look, these elections here, this is the notice period. You must publish it so that you can have. Okay, the rules have not been complied with. You people are good at talking. What action is likely? Why not move to court to prevent the elections officer from declaring the results?
Well, as a matter of fact, we've met with our lawyer and we are moving to court. That is one option. We met with him last evening and this morning. I know Sheriff was at the meeting this morning. So we'll be moving to court. We have some other options that we will be discussing with the members, because it is the view of the members that as long as Yard remains as president of the GPSU, hundreds of members across the country, they've already been indicating that they are no longer interested in being part of the union with Patrick Yard as president, and so they're ready and willing to withdraw en masse from the union. And so that's another option, because they are of the view, and we hold the same view that Mr. Yard is no longer representing the will of the public servants by being president of the GPSU and the members of the Guyana Public Service Union.
My question, though, Karen, was why not move to prevent the declaration? Because you see, once the declaration is made, then he is the president. You can then move to challenge after. But he remains the legitimate president once he's so declared.
But they did not declare him as.
No. But he's likely to be doing so.
But based on the
moving to
media,
court,
the
yeah.
news that I read just today, it is saying that Mr. D'Souza indicated to, can't remember the name of the media operative, that is the results of the election. But he still hasn't said anything to us, but it is there in the media, he's saying that is the results. I read that only today, so I'm like, because he was supposed to make this announcement today, that, well, who was the president, etc.
You have elections officer, you have returning officers for districts, and you have an election officer for the union. Did each region or district have a returning officer?
No,
How do you know that?
because it was not given, and nothing else was given or written to us. That
Published,
information was not published.
That information was never published to us. The other thing,
It was never published.
it was never published.
Generally.
Generally.
It was not published.
And the other thing why we would say no, because, for example, Region 10 boxes came down with a taxi driver, and nobody accompanied those boxes.
But I come back to this. Why did you people allow that?
Yeah.
So there must be an answer. Is it sheer carelessness? Is it that you didn't know?
Not that. Mr. Ram, because of the time frame after the injunction was discharged, we were not able to have anybody at all of the polling stations and all of the regions in region. What we did is that we use our contacts in the region and asked them to overlook, but there wasn't any official document or official way of having them on board because of that time frame that was given to us. We worked with what we had.
Ms. Torrington, it was the same time frame that the code gave everybody. Do you accept that?
Yes.
It was the Thursday. It was the same time frame.
There's a difference there, though.
Sorry?
The difference in terms of the time frame for the GPSU is that they have locations all over the country where they have representatives.
But
That's
you
the
see,
difference.
okay.
And they would have already had that in place. And a
But
lot of
listen,
machinery
but
and
listen,
everything.
listen.
Right?
And you know, if you are saying you are so strong,
They have staff. They have staff.
Yes, they have
It's the
staff, but
that
you have
they
members.
use, Yes.
if you are saying you are so strong, then you ought to be able to find people. So, you know, I'm going to say this. That Mr. Yard would have won these elections is quite plausible. If you people can't even organize observers in the districts, then you really are not very well organized. You don't have
no.
sufficient. Why
I
not?
wouldn't say that. I don't want to say at all that we're not organized because.
But you
as,
didn't have
as
people.
Sheriff was saying before, the time that we had, the notice we weren't given the time. If we had gotten that 2 weeks notice for elections as is allowed in the rules, we would have been able to get persons out in every region, and we would have observers everywhere.
Let me ask you, Ms.
Remember
Howard. How many districts did you have observers?
As a matter of fact, we didn't have any
Well,
out of
We
town.
had 7,
Well, quite
4,
frankly,
6.
Basically, you had observers in
Yeah.
Georgetown, but they,
No, and 10.
but
Five.
let
We had
Darren
in
finish.
4,
This is yours.
5, 6,
Schools.
7,
Mhm.
and along the coast. We didn't have in 10, and we didn't have in
Region 6.
no, we had in
You had
6,
in
No,
Six?
yeah, six.
2.
And two.
Yeah,
Is that true?
yeah.
So then, you should have you had observers in each of those. Did they prepare a report and submit to you all? Is there a
Yeah.
report from?
We have
Yes,
that
we have
information.
information,
Yes,
but
we
we
have
don't-
that
No, no,
information.
report.
I'm
They
not
give
asking.
us-
I'm asking
yeah.
for a report. To say information could mean, oh, I speak to you on the telephone. I'm talking about formal things now.
Yes, we
have
got
that.
formal from
We have that.
yeah.
That's how we know that the elections was rigged, based on the results that are presented to us.
Yeah.
Listen, Mr. Patrick Yard has a very well-oiled machinery, and it's quite clear our funds, the workers' funds, he has access to monies to mobilize people within the regions, and the candidates that is opposing Mr. Yard is divided funds, those funds, our funds. We don't have access to the funds to move around the place. So it's quite plausible that he would have rigged the elections.
Yeah, but
Based
you're
on-
talking about
based-
plausibility. Plausibility
based-
doesn't establish facts.
Yeah, but you were also saying it's quite plausible that he would have won the elections.
Yes.
I am saying too that
Because-
it's quite plausible
no,
he would have rigged the elections.
Because
and it's quite
because
clear.
But you know, listen, to have put someone, and you have members. I take it you have members in each of these districts.
Yes, we have
Yes.
members.
You don't need tons of money for someone to move from any part of a district to the central area of that district and say, look, I'm here to observe these elections. It doesn't take tons of money, does it?
What we
Depends on
observed,
where.
it don't take tons of money. That is one of the reasons. The majority of the majority of the electorate lives in Georgetown. Those boxes, we looked over those boxes. We saw when they were counted. We looked at when they counted, and we wrote down exactly how many votes were for Yard, how much was for Gaspar. There were
Georgetown
about 7
along the
boxes.
coast,
There were
Georgetown
900 and
along the
something votes. And the majority of votes went for Gaspar. So how come can the remaining boxes be about 1,000 and something? Where the rest of the votes came from?
But your people were observing these, weren't they?
Yeah,
Where were they?
We need...
You said you were there all the
have our
time. We were-
report from 6, and so we know what happened in 6.
Six,
it was
yes.
rigged there.
Yes, we have our report from 7.
So what was the results in
right?
6? Do you know the results in 6?
Yes, we know that it was 115 persons voted, and we know that subsequent to that being declared, 70 additional votes turned up in favor of Yard. We have that.
When you say,
that-
so you had
Stuffing.
Yes.
After.
you have ballot stuffing.
Yes.
Stuffing.
Yes,
Yeah.
there was a
Yes.
lady. There was a lady who came
Yeah.
from Barbies.
But
And
why
we
didn't
got
you
that
take photo?
information.
Listen, they got something
got
in
that
cell
the
phone.
same-
Why not take photographs?
We have
We
have
have it.
photographs.
It was done.
We-
It was done. and
we have photographs.
we were given that information, and then the next day when the box was brought to Georgetown, one of Yard's person, she proudly and probably with her excitement announced that she did what she had to do for Patrick, for Mr. Yard. She put stuff 70
All right.
ballots for him. So and then it confirmed what
Six,
was
and they had 10.
yeah.
They had region 10.
Yeah.
Where 4 boxes came down. 3 were empty, and we
No,
were
but,
told that
you
what
see,
was in all
We
the
need
boxes
an
were put into
independent
one
body
box.
to run these elections.
But you see, listen,
not GPSU or
it's one
Patrick
thing.
Yard.
It's one thing to say it now. Your rules. You're a member of the organization. Your rules
Yes.
provide. You can't say bring somebody. You can't override your rules.
That's true.
You're talking about bringing ballot boxes that were empty, but it doesn't matter whether it's empty or full when it's get to Georgetown.
No,
It
what
matters
happened?
what is declared in the districts.
No, what they
Is
did.
that what the rules
no, what
say?
they did, they took out what was in 1, 2, and 3 and put all in 4.
No. When they did this?
Listen,
At
In-
Linden
yeah.
before it came to Georgetown.
No, but were those votes counted in Linden?
Yes,
Yes.
according to the
So
election officer.
the officer,
According
the
to the
presiding
elections
officer or the returning officer should have had a written declaration together with the ballot
That wasn't
cards
done.
and shall submit a written declaration. Written declaration say I so
Right,
and so
correct.
do hereby certify, etc. Written declaration together with the ballot cards.
that is
Have you
still
all got?
coming. It is still on its way.
What do you mean it's still on its way?
Exactly
It's,
that.
on,
Exactly that.
it's still on its way.
No, it means that you
On the
people
back-
did. You means that you people did not do a good job.
We did
No.
our bit.
You allowed
We
elections.
did so much.
Let's assume here, Gordon. Let's
Yeah.
put it this way: if what you are saying is right, you allow people to steal this thing from under your nose. If what you're saying is correct, and that's careless, at the very least, or a dereliction of duty.
Well,
Not
that,
their election.
No,
I want.
that is why we are here.
Because
that
No,
is
no,
why
here-
we're here to expose the rigging.
No, yeah.
That is why we're here.
But you,
They might have stolen it, but
Mr. Ram, we
this is
even
this is
spent
this is
nights
the
out
forum
there.
to expose the rigging. Isn't
Because
it?
at certain times, the GASPA representatives, observers were locked out of the building. We couldn't enter. So many times. Matter of fact, as we speak here right now, there's a notice on the union door. Nobody but GPSU
but
staff
that
alone
that
must
is
enter.
beside the point at this
and
stage.
all sorts of things. But we were locked out several times and totally
But Ruth,
police was
do
calling
you
us.
agree that this is all irrelevant at this stage?
I mean, that
The
those
election
are the things that
results,
cause
the
what happened to
counting
happen.
takes place at the district level, and the results are declared at the district level. That's what it is.
The report, we have no report.
But I am
And
not
that is what
even-
we've been asking for.
But-
We need an audit of those boxes.
Apart from and I'm not even focusing on the locking out of the union's headquarters at New Garden Street. But the observers were locked out at the place of polling where the counting took place on the day of the election,
That's what I'm talking
at the
about.
close of poll, right?
Elections
at the
was
different
not
place.
free and
All right,
fair.
no. It's hard for you to make all these big
Yeah.
statements.
Not a big statement,
Did you
it's
people?
fact.
Okay, you said you didn't have money. You didn't got no money in the region. Did you have a cell phone? Did you call something like a command center? Did you have something in Georgetown
we have-
to say,
yeah.
look, this, and I am calling from Region 6. Our representative, Mr. So-and-so, or Miss So-and-so, was just locked out from the polling place. And
Yes.
could you
That's
please
all of
follow
those
that?
information.
Did that happen?
Yes.
Can you
It
imagine?
happened. Yes, Christopher,
Can you
it
imagine
happened.
the command center is Mr. Patrick Yard's office?
No, but for
Christ,
us,
man,
For
come
us.
on.
us.
yes, it did happen.
We got the cause, but remember,
Gordon, come on.
we didn't have the forces to do what we wanted to do. We had it.
But you are
But we
saying
would
that
have like
you're
one
saying
person.
you got hundreds or
right?
thousands of people supporting your slate, and you
Yeah.
can't get people.
It's not hundreds of thousands. The union doesn't
No,
even
sorry,
have hundreds
sorry,
of thousands of
thousands.
members.
You have thousands of people supporting your slate. You couldn't get 6 people to sit in a room and say, "Look, we are the command center."
We
For-
had that system in
had
place
people
here
check in.
in Georgetown. As a matter of fact, persons even took turns.
Yeah, we
All
had that.
night,
We
all
had
through
that
the
in
night.
place.
All right.
All through the
Mr.
night.
Ram.
We
Okay,
had
so
that.
you've got all of
Yes,
that.
we had that
Yeah.
in
We
place.
got all
slept
of
there.
that.
We
And
got
we had
pictures
it at
of all the
play
people who did
points
the
in
Oh,
the
you
counting.
just
we
say
had
Jarton,
that.
man.
We had that, Mr. Ram.
Yeah, we had it.
The action was no, but the point is this: if all of this happened, surely there are grounds for saying, going to the court to get the court to rule that given all when you provide all of this evidence,
We have all
that,
of our
that
evidence.
the results ought not to, Mr. Patrick Yard or whoever should not be declared. Because otherwise, the reason for that is this. Otherwise, you then enter a petition. And because he stays in office, and you know how those things go.
Yes.
Just like how this has to supposed to happen immediately after. Our laws, you talked about our national laws. Our national laws say election petition must be heard from day to day. It hardly gets heard from year to year.
It's truth. That's so true.
I am sorry.
This is a situation where we have a Papa Doc situation. Somebody who wants to be president for life, but the situation is quite clear. Provide us the evidence that you have won the elections. Bring the
It's not for him to provide it. It's the chief
Elections officer.
elections officer.
And let me say this, Mr.
chief
Ram.
election
The
officer.
elections officer
It's
was
like
being
one and the
ruled
same
by
person.
Mr. Yard. It's one and the same person. 'Cause
We-
he would go so frequently
we-
into the room to him
And
to
call
have
and-
discussion,
and-
call,
and
come
take
back.
instructions
We have the
from Patrick
evidence.
Yard.
This is what we will do. And then when you say, no, this is what we want, he goes back. And so he's back. He wasn't operating by
Independent.
himself.
I still raise my
Yeah.
question. Why is it?
Right?
Now, okay, assuming these elections, the results are declared, you then have Mr. Yard and the rest of the persons in office. What do you do? Karen, you suggested that you have a couple options. Are those things that you would share with the public?
At this point in time, I would not want
You
to
don't want
share
your
them.
own members
right.
to
You
know.
haven't spoken
No,
with them.
our own members, we're meeting with them. We met with some this afternoon and we'll be meeting with tomorrow. We'll be going around. So we don't want to publicize what at this point in time with the general public, but with the members and those who voted. Yes, we'll be sharing that.
But what we can share with the members, we can tell them that if they want another 30 years of Mr. Patrick Yard, then we will stay passive and allow Mr. Patrick Yard to continue to rule forever.
But
That's
you
not-
know the members don't want that. So
No.
No.
At this point in
Let
time,
me
the
just-
members are not into tolerating
Patrick.
not even more days with Patrick Yard, much less 30 years.
A matter of fact, just this
30
afternoon,
additional
a
years,
member
yeah.
from the Palms, we were just driving off, and the young lady was like, Karen, girl, what's this? What happened? What happened to the elections? I hear Mr. Yard gone back. Look, we're going to withdraw the money. We're going to come out of the union. So we had to talk to her. Tell
Yeah.
her, no, we can come and have a talk with them. We have some plans in place.
Mm-hmm.
We
Because-
meet you on the
yeah.
road.
We'll be sensitizing.
So we're sensitive. We're in that process because the members are calling from all the different departments and agencies
And
and
districts.
in the districts and indicating their
These same members who didn't volunteer to play any role. In the rigging of these
they
elections.
played a role in that they
Yeah,
went
they
out
made-
and they voted in favor of Gaspar, and
Right,
as
they
far
They
as
didn't
they
play
are
any role in the
concerned,
rigging.
In the
they
rigging.
No, but they
The
didn't.
machinery,
they didn't-
Yard's machinery
the
played a role
will
in the
is not
rigging
being
of the
observed by
elections.
Yard being imposed again on the public servants, so they are willing to come out, withdraw from the union, starve the union of funds. And as I said, there are other options that we have to our disposal that we will be engaging on.
Now we talk a lot about the elections. What else? An annual general meeting, especially when it's held, is it 4 yearly?
Well, we have one scheduled for the for June.
Or you have the elections are 4 yearly.
Yes, elections are held.
What else
for you.
happened at the general meeting? Was a report presented
The last meeting that they had, which was
when the
last
elections
was,
were held?
um,
So it's just elections. You don't
Just-
have a
Yeah, this is elections now, and then in June it will be the conference where those who have been elected will be installed. So they will be installed till in June.
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Go on.
so
Go on.
that is what will happen.
So my question
and
is, when do they report to the members?
they will report in June.
No, you said they're going to be installed. They can't report.
It's a
No.
conference, right? It will be the
Yeah.
conference which will be
No.
held, which is scheduled to be held in June.
The point I'm making is this. There's an outgoing executive and there's an incoming executive. Surely the outgoing executive has to make a report to the members. Somewhere it must
In
have.
June,
No, but you said they're being installed. That's a new set of people.
no, that there,
Is in that,
is it at that same conference
that
where the
forum.
outgoing will be making the report, the incoming will be installed.
That same forum, all of
Yes.
that happens.
Yes.
So when are these financial statements supposed to be presented?
At that same
At that
forum.
same
forum.
conference scheduled for June.
And
The
what has
financial
Presentation of
statements which
treasurer's
haven't been
report, discussion.
presented for the past 12 years.
Right at that forum.
now? You have a biennial delegates conference. That's different from what we just had. What's the biennial delegates conference?
That's a conference where all the
Branches.
branches meet and you make decisions in terms of if you want
The
to
running of the organization.
Of the union, you pass motions.
increase in dues, different things.
When is that supposed to be held?
every 2 years.
No, we know well it's biennial, so it
Yes,
is
sir.
every 2 years.
There was one.
What?
Something.
There was
This
one.
year.
There was one last year. And what happened?
There was one in 2015.
2015.
Yeah,
Yes,
2015.
2015. So there's
The
one
one
that's
scheduled
scheduled
for this year.
June, yeah.
But there was a meeting last year where we met at the convention center, and
It
because
was
of the lack of
2015.
2015,
because of the lack of
2015.
a quorum.
This was 2015.
Okay, that was in 2015. Listen, what has been happening? The incumbent has skillfully allowed branches to be destroyed. Because under the shop steward agreement, the entities, the employers are required to continue paying the union dues. But when you go to these meetings, there will be no quorum and no decisions will be made. So he gets his own people to say, listen, EXCO has made these decisions without the full body of all the branches
You see,
sitting down and making these
I
these
get the
decisions.
impression that we're not very au fait with our rules, because the biennial delegates conference, which just said shall be held at such places as Jericho shall be made from time to on or before the 30th of September. And 42 days notice of such meeting shall be given by a circular and by public advertisement. The rule 5J sets out what the order of business of the biennial delegates conference should include. It would include the chairman's remark, the presentation of reports of the council and standing committee, discussion and report, presentation of treasurer's report, discussion. Those are the things that are required.
That is
No,
what
I know you say
should
you
be
know, but
happening.
I'm.
That's what should have been happening, but the last conference that was scheduled, that did not happen because it didn't have the quorum. They had enough branches there to have it done.
So what?
And usually those standing committees, they don't have any reports to present because they're not even functioning.
That's the problem.
So you may have a chairman's report. You may have, well, the treasury report is another thing that has not been forthcoming within recent conferences. You may have, well, the audit that's out, that hasn't been present for the last 12 years.
But my question is this. Rule 5 says the delegates representative of 50% of the branches of the union shall constitute a quorum.
Yeah.
How many branches
That are active.
does the union have?
We
Six.
have on record 65.
On record, we have 65 branches. It should have 65 branches.
So you need 33 branches
Yes,
to constitute a
a
quorum.
quorum.
When last did the GPSU Biennial Delegates Conference have a quorum?
I know the last time they didn't have a quorum. I don't know about the others.
2015.
The last one was 2015. Before then, it would have been 2013. I wasn't there, so I would leave that to you folks to answer.
Okay, so let us assume there's no quorum. What happens?
There
President
should
for
be no
life.
decisions. No decisions.
There's no business session.
no business session. Nothing.
So what would happen is that, like in 2015, they may say that they will hold
They call it a special delegates conference.
Exco meeting.
they will have the general council. They may say that they will have the general council because the general council is supposed to be held at least I think twice a year. And the general council is comprised of a similar makeup like the biannual delegates conference, which require active branch members. So at those two levels, because a lot of the branches are not active, the only body remain to make decisions are the executive council. But so what happened over the years is that with the breakdown of no branch elections, which should have been run off by the secretariat themselves, the branches become inactive, and so the EXCO members now are at liberty to spend our money and to do what they think is fitting.
I'll tell you what my view of what you're saying and what the rules of the GPSU suggest is that you have all been part of a lawless organization. It's not observing its own rules. It has not had a valid biennial conference
That's right.
for a long time
That's right.
because you require 50% of the branches. How many branches are now
Active?
active?
No.
Might be good.
GGMC is
But-
one that
but
I know.
4 or so.
4.
Well, I mean,
And
this.
But
The last, okay, when Carnes finished.
to say that we have been part of a lawless organization, maybe to some extent might be so, and it's that recognition that we have. That is why we have decided that it is time we change that lawlessness, we get rid of that lawlessness, and we effect positive change. And that is why as a team we have embarked on what we are currently in to bring, because a month ago, or maybe over a month ago, a group of us decided that too much has been happening that should not be happening where the GPSU is concerned, and other public servants should know, members of the Guyanese public should know, and that is why we started protesting in front of the union to highlight the issues that we believe are important and public servants should be made aware. So it is because we wanted to change that lawlessness, that is why we embarked on that, and we are at this point. And while we are at this point, we are not about to give up. We will be continuing or taking actions until we see the back of Patrick Yard. And we will see the back of Patrick Yard. This declaration or saying or whatever the media has right now has not broken, this notice has not broken our spirit. We will continue to push for betterment in the Guyana Public Service Union as members, as public servants. And you were saying that this lawlessness, well, we want that lawlessness to stop.
No,
But
We
Mr.
want that
Ram,
lawlessness to stop.
Just a
We do
point
not
to
want
note.
that lawlessness to continue any longer.
The last biennial delegates conference that was convened in 2015 that didn't come off. GGMC branch was the branch that walked out of that conference
Because they raised issues.
he raised issues
yes.
and he refused to, and so that's how
Acknowledge and
everything
treat
went
with
in,
them.
and other persons followed.
Yes.
And the other few active branches followed, and that is how.
So it's not that members are happy to be a part of that lawlessness and want to see it continue.
It's whether they
right?
want it or not. It is.
There is, we
operating.
accept that. There is lawlessness there. And even those who are in support of Patrick Yard, they are comfortable operating in the lawlessness. But we are not comfortable. We've seen it's not doing anything positive for the union and for the public servants and members in general of the public services.
Let me ask
so we
you.
want it to
You're
stop.
aware that these rules are being violated.
Yes.
Why is a complaint not being lodged with the registrar of trade
A
union?
complaint has
That was
been
done.
lodged with the registrar of
That
trade
was
union.
A letter
And
was drafted and sent.
Yes.
When
a
was this?
complaint has been lodged with the registrar of
That
trade
was
union.
recently.
During the same period,
Yeah.
we were
No,
waiting
yeah.
on
Yeah.
the three elections
You see,
results.
I keep saying that everything is about elections. Since 2015, we knew that the constitution of the GPSU
Being
was not being
violated.
observed.
Mm.
That's the problem I'm having.
But you see, it's after 2015, the GGMC branch started to get very serious about what we observe, and we decided that, look, we're going to pull in other persons and we got to get things done.
So what did the registrar say?
We didn't
We're
get
still awaiting.
We're still awaiting a
response.
response from the registrar of trade union.
Who's the registrar?
It's one Miss Abash. The registrar of trade unions would be the person who's registrar of the deeds registry.
Is that right?
She's still there?
No, there's not. Yeah, whoever is the registrar.
The registrar of...
Yeah, because free trade unions fall within the ambit of the deeds registry.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So we have a real right mess in the GPSU. Now, when you look at the financial statements, that we said this last week, and these statements are supposed to be audited by the Auditor General.
Correct.
Have you all lodged a complaint to the Auditor General?
Not as
No.
yet.
No, that is yet.
No,
What are we waiting on?
We wrote the Auditor General.
We will.
They wrote
No,
Nestor,
GGMC
they
wrote
the
Auditor General requesting some information, and to my understanding, they're not in receipt of a response to that request.
So we have the finances of the union in a mess.
The finances of the union is in a mess.
Now, there is a credit union attached. Now, no, it's not a laughing matter, please.
No, it's not.
It's not a laughing
It's
matter.
It's not a laughing matter.
This is a serious.
It's serious because when you call credit
It's
union,
millions
there are
and millions
issues
of
there again.
money we're talking
There are
about.
issues there again.
Billion.
Who is the head of the credit union?
There's
There's a manager.
There's a secretary manager, Mr. Trevor,
Ben.
Trevor Ben. And there's a management committee, of course, which
Which is
Patrick
chaired by
Yard.
Patrick Yard.
No, it's
Not
chaired by.
chaired.
It's not chaired by
It's
him.
chaired
It's
by
chaired by Patricia
Patricia
Wen.
Wen.
But in
Pat-
fact, it's like if it's chaired by Patrick Yard. But
they
he
said
and
chaired
he's
because
on
I
that
know-
management committee, and he places all his cronies on that committee, and they're having a field day there.
Now, what is the value of the funds controlled by this credit union?
It's how many billion? It's past a billion.
It's past $1 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a lot of persons, all the public
Yeah.
servants are part of that credit union.
Mr. Nestor, you tell us,
you're part of
you
the
know what
credit
is.
union, right?
No, I'm part of
We
credit
all
union.
members of the
I
credit
don't
union,
have
yeah.
the figures for. I don't have the figures for the.
When last did the credit union provide financial statements?
Right now they're due to have
Right
an
now, the
AGM,
credit union is due
and
to
they're claiming they're not
due to have an
getting a
AGM.
venue.
and
They
they're
can't get a venue?
Yes, I read that in the newspapers and I was applauded it. Venue is a problem and
They
they're
used to-
due to have an AGM.
Now, even
the last
2-year-old
the last AGM
would
was held in
know that a venue cannot be a reason.
2013, right?
Correct.
2013.
We're
yeah.
not in a state of emergency. You can't go and get a place.
Correct.
It might be for a reason.
You can even use the GPSU hall.
Yeah. GPS.
Yeah,
Which one
It's
is
a
the hall?
small, not the one at all.
Not the one in
No, I'm talking about the in Regent Street.
It can
No,
be too
that's too
small.
small.
It can be too small.
How many people normally attend them? When last was a meeting held?
In 2013.
23rd.
Yes, in
Now,
2013.
you know, what you're saying here suggests to me that the government has got to take action. Maybe the governor of the Bank of Guyana. This is a financial institution.
Yes.
This is bordering on criminality now. but no, stop this foolishness.
No, it is
You
true.
people have to do something.
But what I
But this is the reason why we're here. This is
No,
the
no, no,
reason
no.
why we're here.
So
and this one-
that's how you do things?
because if the
What-
if,
what
if
we-
the,
This is serious. I'm saying you should be
Well,
right.
you
The
see,
governor
it's
of
at
the Bank of Guyana,
it's
for
at
example.
the AGM, Christopher, where
2013, 2013.
where members would question the accounts and on all of that.
Yeah, but
of
if they
the
don't hold
AGM.
these things,
How you question that?
But you don't have any other forum.
you have
You
the
have-
court, you have the
you have-
registrar, you have the supervising authority. You have all these
I
options
think
to do it.
the credit union supervisory committee, they too have issues with with the credit union there, right?
Yeah.
They're not even allowed to function the way they're
And
supposed
a
to
matter of fact,
function.
I know of two persons who are part of that committee that currently the data audits of certain things, and they send something to Ms. Yard, which she has to answer to.
Many of the persons on the management committee of the credit union are persons who have been handpicked by Patrick Yard to be placed there, so he has total control of the management committee
know-
of the public service credit
You know,
union.
I
So,
have,
and that's something we want members out there to know, that he's there, his tentacles are spread there too, and they're having a ball there.
I had a call sometime over the last weekend asking me to raise issues about the GPSU credit union, but now it's not my role to do that. It's people
Oh,
like
yes.
you who have put money. What is
Yes.
happening to your money? Do we want another financial failure in this place? Who is the auditor?
Well, the auditor was one Solomon,
Solomon.
Maurice Solomon.
Solomon is the last one.
He was the last auditor. And the last accounts were done from 2011 to 2013. 2011 to 2013.
My view, seriously, I'm not impressed at all. I think you all are allowing too much lawlessness. You have serious problems. We have the union.
If you recall, Chris, before you go any further, when we started our protest action to highlight the issues we believe are very important and public servants out there should know in relation to the union, the public service union, the first press release that Patrick Yard and his team gave, especially in the person of Mr. Livon, they made a reference in that same press release to Mr. Hermanstein and myself wanting to take over or wanting some kind of position. I didn't even focus on it too much because my focus was on the public service union, not the public service credit union. But we wanted to take over positions, and we are upset because he would not allow us. He would not allow us to take over positions. We members, we legitimate members of the credit union.
In some ways,
so he feels that he has. Let me finish, man. He feels that he too has.
No, but all you people
has
complain
a
about is
right.
Patrick Yard and not doing
No.
something. Listen, let me tell you
No,
this.
we're not complaining,
hold on,
but it has to be said because you
But you've
asked
said
the
it
question,
before.
so it has to be said.
No,
No,
but-
you didn't ask a question
but
before about the credit
you
union.
do not even, you cannot come here and tell me what is the value of the funds that are being toyed with in the credit union. And I'm saying, we have a responsibility to all those
I
people.
do not want to give a figure that may not be totally correct, but I have it. I can check it. I don't
And
have it on me.
I think
so that's
those
why I
things-
haven't said it
I-
because I don't want to give an incorrect figure.
I think, well, we know that the GPSU has an accumulated deficit at 2015 of $27 million. We know that. Now, I am saying, I believe those are matters that you people should be publicizing. You should be writing letters to the media. You have to keep the pressure up. It is not only about elections. That's my question. But on the credit union, the fact that people will not get back their money because so many loans have been given on the conditions that are
Nothing.
weak.
And not only loans, you know, what I found, because I have a
Investments?
situation with my dad. When he died, the beneficiary is supposed to get, and they said it had to go to Trinidad. It went to Trinidad, came back, and when it came back, they told my mother, she can't get anything, some long story, they told her. That he was over age, and he was, so my mother said, if he knew he was over age, and why then were you collecting his money?
So what did you do?
Right? No, it's a matter that I'm dealing with right now. Because my mom lives
Did
in
you see a
Canada.
lawyer? Did you check a lawyer?
No, I didn't.
What did you do?
I went in there to Mr. Ben, and he said he will check on it and let me check back with him.
And how long ago that was?
It was a little while.
All right. Our time has run out. Let me say thank you so very much to our guest, Mr. Gordon Nestor. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Ms.
sir.
Ruth Howard, Ms. Shelfra
Thank you.
Torrington,
Thank you.
Karen Vansluytman. I
Thank
know
you.
you're becoming familiar to our viewers. I am extremely concerned. All I'm hearing is it points to some real serious problems in the GPSU
in the GPSU
and
the
in the
credit union.
GPSU credit union.
We agree.
I really believe
With that.
the regulators of the GPSU credit union ought to step in to call for an investigation. And in fact, I'm saying this tonight, I will be writing the regulator to ask for such an investigation to be held. Operators and viewers, thank you. Good night. I'm sorry that we are ending on such a bad note. Maybe next week we'll have something to be far more optimistic about. Once again, see you then.